In my family, if you have free beer, you have as much free labor as you want, even if it's 9 degrees outside. We started ascribing to the concept that if one of us has something to get done, we all have something to get done. And we began lovingly calling these barn raisings. My youngest brother just bought a new house, and he's got a really nice detached garage that he wants to use as a workshop for working on his car and the occasional woodworking project. The first order of business in any workshop, in my opinion, is to build a simple work table or workbench, and hopefully more than just a sheet of OSB on a couple of sawhorses. So we all got together, and it was time for our annual, biannual, triannual, however often we need it, barn raising. And in this case, we were building a really simple and quick work table for my brother. I had sketched out a super quick design, but we were really flying by the seat of our pants. We kind of went with the basic concept of more like a table than a workbench, so we were making some sort of reinforced corners that we would eventually attach the legs to. We decided the bench would be 2 feet deep, 8 feet long, and about 40 inches tall. He wanted to be able to use a stool to sit at it if he wanted to, but he's 6'2", 6'3", and he wanted to be comfortable using it when he was standing up as well. I apologize if this video doesn't go into quite as much detail as I usually do. I was mainly focusing on just hanging out with my brothers, drinking some beer, and not really as much focused on capturing a great tutorial video. I usually do these kind of projects with my brothers like 2 or 3 times a year, and I'll put them out on video. I'm not guaranteeing the kind of quality they're going to be, but they should at least be fun to watch. If you are interested in building this project, I'm going to have the full plans and designs available on my Patreon page for any of my supporters at any level. So if you're interested in that, check that out right here. This is a super limited tool workbench. All you really need is a drill and a circular saw. I guess you could really do it with a handsaw even if you wanted to. And that's really how your first workbench should be. It should just be easy to throw together, some 2x4s, some sheets of plywood or OSB, just a flat surface to work on. The only real consideration we had in the build was we didn't want any screws showing in the front of the boards. We ended up screwing that up later, but overall it turned out pretty clean. Not that it matters, it is a workbench anyway. If you could see him over the fence, he's peeing on camera right there. Stage right? Me and my little brothers have busy jobs and kids and wives, so we really don't get much time to hang out together, so we really embrace these times to really bond as a family. My wife is a phenomenal cook, and she'll come over and make a huge meal for everybody. That way we can all kind of have that communal meal after we come in from making the project all day. Now, I personally didn't buy this lumber, but it was crazy warped. Let that be a lesson to you. I just saw Steve Ramsey's latest workbench video, and I totally agree. If you're going to work with construction lumber, take the time to go through the lumber pile and pick the straightest and flattest boards. Otherwise, that warp is going to go into the rest of your project just the same. I swear, nobody was really drunk. That's just how he is all the time. There was no fancy joinery on this project. It was all just pocket holes and screws. We used my brother's little pocket hole jig, the Craig K3, I think it was. I'll link to that down below on Amazon. It worked just fine, but I definitely prefer my K5. My brothers were totally enthralled with the process of making a video, and they kept trying to figure out cool ways to frame shots. And it was a lot of fun, but I didn't want to let the act of making a video get in the way of us just hanging out and having fun. It was nice, though, having somebody else in the shop and being able to carry on with people and bounce ideas off each other. It was a good time. Looks like all of our flying by the seat of our pants kind of worked out. Now, the tops of the boards weren't like totally level perfect because the OSB was flexing a little bit, but with the hand plane, just a little bit of elbow grease, it was easy to smooth that out. All I had to do was get it smooth enough to put the OSB on. Yeah, pretty good work. Yeah. No, you're going against the grain. Let it roll. Don't push so hard. Just let it glide. Plain like a butterfly. Yeah, follow through long strokes. Long strokes.
Long strokes.
Yeah, just like that. The frame of the work table didn't turn out quite as square as I wanted it to. I think we might have missed a measurement or something at some point. Plus, we were cutting everything with a circular saw and no straight edge, so they weren't all perfectly square cuts, but it turned out pretty good in the end. We used the little templates that we'd used to trace out the legs originally, to trace out the areas to cut out of the bottom shelf before we slid it in. That way it'd slide in and lock in with the legs. After we marked it up, then we cut out the little notches with the circular saw. After we cut out the notches, it was time to trim just a little bit off the edge of the OSB. This way it would sit flush with the inset shelf down below. And of course, being brothers, we had to make a contest out of it. So we chose to try freehand cutting the OSB, even though we had a long straight edge, to see who had the smoothest cut.
Yeah. What you got?
Big brother don't lose. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Cut this up a little.
Finally, we slid the bottom shelf in and attached it with a couple screws. And then the bench was done. Just time to clean up the shop a little bit, finish up our beers, and head in for dinner.
Like a glove.
I have so much fun hanging out with my brothers, and this is a really cool bonding experience. I do highly recommend it. If any of your family ever asks for any help, unless it's moving, go ahead and volunteer yourself. It's always fun. It's good to embrace those bonding moments when you can. Doing some hard work together, thinking together, solving problems together. So do more woodworking with your family. I know I will. I know it's a little bit of a departure from my usual videos, but if you enjoy this and want to see more of these kind of family projects, I'm going to put them up anyway, but I guess drop me a like down below and let me know in the comments if you do stuff like this with your family. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe. Have a good one, guys. And remember to keep your tools sharp, to keep your mind sharper.